Alright, so I was going to show you that all my factories are being properly destroyed. I mean, I have the terminate and the destructor, but they're actually not working, which makes sense why I couldn't switch scenes. So that makes perfect sense, and I don't know how I didn't see that when I was debugging. So I cannot actually show you that they're being cleaned up and destroyed properly. What I can do though is for the singleton pattern, I can show you that they're being implemented correctly besides that point because there's no static. I have static functions, but the class itself is not static. And then the pointer instance is also static as it has to be. And then these are my non-statics that are the private functions. So then my private functions are made in here. So then nothing can touch my private functions. If any object calls to the factory, they call the public function that has to go into the private. And then to show that the cleanup for certain object pools are done correctly, that I have active items or active items that are on the game. If it's true, it goes in the next player. This is specifically for the centipede head, so if there's no centipede heads being made, or there's no centipede heads on the map, then it'll go to the next area, and then it went to the next one. Yeah, once again, somehow I missed about the instance pointer being null, and I'm not doing it, so I'll have to go back after this final. I'll go back and do it because I'm not gonna not do it. I'm babbling. I can't be. My bad. In my game controller, so before I do this, because I'm gonna forget, in my game controller it's just a game object that basically uses all the singletons to start up the game. This is where my process scores is for my score manager, which uses my command score. And all command score is, well, there's two of them, is it has the execute, which execute is override from the commander base, and the base is just this. So then anything that's a command has to use the execute, which makes sense for what we're using it for. And to show that these are only being done once, all these are being made through my constructor for my factory. So like for my head factory, it's no longer default like we had for our singletons. I actually have it making one. So then its pointer to a command score is set, and it sets the command. So then whenever the game starts up and we set up all the factories, it goes and does it. So then as they're being made, it's doing it. So like when the spider was made, it sets it up because the factory didn't need to be made until that point. So then in the output, you can see that on flea death, we set up the points for the flea, and we set up the points for the spider. The spider set up not using the command score since it's by distance. It has its own file for command score by distance. And then in my score manager, basically once it's destroyed, it sets the event from that object, like from the spider object. That once it is destroyed, we do report spider death for whatever distance it is on Y. So we go here, and we go here, and basically from whatever the current player's position is to the Y position, that's how you figure out what distance it will be that you'll get that appears on the screen and goes into the score for the player. And I do not have a separate factory for to create commands. I just have the one. And then all this stuff, if I go back to the score command, score manager, I did have it in here at first for the process it because it has to be every frame. and I didn't have my game controller made yet. But now since it is made, that's the only thing it's updating inside the game controller. It's just processing the score. For my state machine, we go and here's some of these. All right. So we have the state itself that sets up the array of my offsets, which is my collection for my different states of like what they'll do in that state. So we have the static constants here that are public. These are all my array of offsets, not counting the poison ones because they use one of these anyways. And then we go and start making unique copies. That's why they're constant, because they're not supposed to change and they shouldn't be changed, so we make them constant. This makes them into static constants, so then they're able to be used. And then these are one of the states specifically for downward right turn left. So then both of these are being overridden because these are in the transform state and they have to have something different. Then here, when it's first being created, it'll go through and initialize it, and it'll only initialize it once in the very beginning because they'll never have to do it again. So once it goes through this, then my ifs are if it's touching the left boundary, or if there's a mushroom, if it's normal, because it could be either normal, free, or poison. And then if it's empty, you just continue what you're doing. And then if it is poison, then you start doing the state poison. And then you return what either of these next states would be. Let's see, and we can go look into the poison really quick. Because the poison, I actually was amazed how easy it was. You can make it. So basically, oh, you have a setup. I have it being downward turn right on I, because then all it's doing is going left and right downward, and that's it. So you're just doing downward turn left and downward turn right until it hits either, I had it set up at the top, which was a problem, so I set it to the bottom, but it's the bottom boundary of the play area, and once it hits that, then it just goes back to its normal state, or whatever state it needs to be.